Now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline, friend of the program, former BYU quarterback and NFL player, John Beck. John, nice to have you back on.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
What did it mean to you to be featured in that Lego video, Beck to Harleen, a couple of weeks ago, John?
It was pretty funny, especially the way my kids reacted. I have a couple little boys that absolutely love Lego, so for Dad to be a Lego actually, I think, meant more than Dad being an NFL football player.
Isn't that the reality with young
That was
ones?
awesome, and we were in the crowd, apparently. We were featured in the crowd, so we were happy to be a part of that with you, and we were on the sideline for that. I know it's been 11 years now, which is crazy, but do you still have – I mean, how often does that, like, come to your mind or people ask you about that play still?
Every BYU Utah week. I mean, it's kind of like people at church, people that are my friends, you know, just around that time of year, the kind of like buzz starts happening again. And of course, then it's like, hey, yeah, I remember where I was at. And it, you know, it's always fun for me to hear the stories of what other people remember, where they were, what was going on. And I feel lucky because, you know, the one view that I have is through my face mask, and I will always remember what that looked like, felt like, you know, so I'll cherish it always. And you know, it's not like our family sits around at night and recites the Greg Wrubell play call.
Plenty of time.
Shuffling.
This time of year, I'm definitely reminded of that play and that game and my teammates and how much work from every single player went into it.
Talking with former BYU quarterback and NFL player John Beck. Follow him at JBeck12 on the Twitter machine. BYU is in such an interesting position given what happened last week against LSU, a team that defensive coordinator Elisa Tuiaki said, man, they were better than I thought they would be, and I thought they'd be good. They're good enough to maybe be in the college football playoff. So it's hard to gauge what BYU is capable of early in the season after that game, but that's what we're going to ask you to do. What do you expect from BYU against Utah on Saturday, John?
You know, I did bring Criddle's show yesterday, and I told them this. After a game like this, where really you get your rear end handed to you, it's a great opportunity to learn a lot and grow a lot. So I think if they look at it the right way, if they move past it and just take from it what they can gain and become better from it, I could see BYU stepping on the field this Saturday and having a great game. Because if you watch the game and you know football, what's going on, you can recognize it's not like it's that far off. It's not like it's a bad football team that went out and showed this is us. Like, I see a lot of things that are really close. It reminds me of some of my, you know, between the end of the 2004, beginning of 2005, some of the situations where you can see pieces about to fall into place. And I know it's very easy to just point the finger at the coordinator and the quarterback. It's easy, and that's why everybody does it. Because the hard thing, and which takes somebody actually knowing what's going on, is to see all of the pieces that go into that. And those things are happening close. I said this also, you know, right now Tanner doesn't have somebody that, hey, has got, you know, 100-something catches under his belt and has over 1,000 yards receiving in this offense. Or he doesn't have a rusher that has 800 yards already in this offense. So those pieces are building. Those are going to come. And when those start to happen more, you're going to start to see that cohesiveness in the unit that, gosh, he just let that ball fly so early. And gosh, that receiver just, he knew exactly where to be. Those things will happen in time. It just can't just happen.
I would love for an inferior opponent to be on the schedule this week, but it's not there. It's Utah. BYU's got to bring it. Utah beat North Dakota. They're 1-0, new offense, always that stout defense. What do you expect from the BYU offense against Utah this week?
Well, you know what? I recorded that Utah South Dakota game because I wanted to this week take a look at their defense. So I haven't had a chance to stop and look at that game, but I want to because I'm curious what Kyle has shown in his last game, especially because I'll say this about football. Defensive coordinators, they want to know their offense, meaning their own team's offense, because that can kind of dictate what can I and can I not do from a defensive standpoint. Can I be really aggressive, or do I need to play more of a bend, don't break? And with this new offensive coordinator, I'm curious to see what Kyle is going to do on defense. Because it's easy for coaches to say, or fans, to say, well, that's his philosophy. He's just going to stay with his philosophy. But if you really listen to comments coaches make, they take into consideration what their own offense can do. Because they don't want to have their defense out on the field all the time. They don't want to be overly risky and potentially give up big plays, and then all of a sudden their offense has to play from behind. Because do they have that type of offense to win a game and come from behind, or do they not? So I'm curious to see with this new coordinator, how does that affect what Kyle does defensively?
John Beck with us on BYU Sports Nation. From quarterback to quarterback, what is your advice to Tanner Mangum this week?
Really, it's easy to feel all of the, why did this happen? I wasn't anticipating this. Things have gone so good in practice. It's easy to do that. And you're not going to find an answer for everything. I'll never forget this. Steve Young called me after my Redskins situation. And it was a bad situation. Everybody knew it, but, you're trying to do your best in it. And Steve called me and said, look, John, if you try to find out all the reasons why this happened, you're just going to burn yourself out. What you got to do is just put it behind you, grab the things that you need to have going forward, and don't try to answer the questions of why. Just take what you can learn and go forward. And I would tell Tanner that same story. Look, Tanner, it'd be really easy to get caught up in the why is this going like this? I didn't think this would happen. Or just, you know what, grab the learning things and go forward. Because we all know Tanner's got a lot of ability. We all know that he's already had games for BYU where he's played great. And it's the same player. And do I think Tanner's a better football player now than he was as a freshman? I do. I think he's a better player. I think he's improved. I think he's learned. So don't worry. You can go out this game, kill it, and then, hey, the world's all right. You almost have to have a baseball player mentality. When I talk to our quarterbacks, our NFL guys a lot, we try to talk to them in almost having a Dominican baseball mentality, because the Dominicans, they kind of slightly don't care, just enough to allow themselves to play free every at-bat. And they can go out there and strike out a couple times, and in their fourth plate appearance, in their heads, they're like, if this dude puts a fastball over the plate, I'm knocking it out of the park. And they don't let the previous 3 at-bats affect that at-bat. And that's what I would say. Hey, so the season didn't really, this isn't going how you want. Don't let that affect this next game. Be in the moment, be the best player you can be, and take the things, and don't worry about answering all the whys.
Fantastic stuff, John. We're doing everything we can to exercise the demons of this so-called 2009 Max Hall curse. So hopefully having you on is a good start to good karma for BYU on Saturday.
I'm going to be at the game. I'm super excited. I'm flying up Saturday morning. It's been a long time since I've been back in LaVell Edwards Stadium, so I'm super pumped to be up there for the game. And I really feel like, hey, I know this is a tough loss to swallow, but, man, I tell you what, I truly believe that true competitors, they can swallow tough losses, and they're excited about what they can gain and build and learn from that and be a better player the next week. So I'm just hoping that all of our guys, hey, swallow this thing and move forward and be the best players they can be come Saturday.
Awesome. John, it's always great to talk to you. We'll see you on the sidelines on Saturday.
Thanks, John.
Right. Sounds great, guys. We'll see you.
John Beck on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.